there is a sense of ownership in this community of those things. I mean, I was told recently, you don't have a choice. It's not about you anymore. You know, this is bigger than you are. Who are you? You know, these belong to us now. So that's, you know, it's a great feeling. The Palo Alto mural project is I call it the Palo Alto pedestrian series because it's actually geared toward people being on foot, walking around and discovering these things. People would ask me, they'd say, I'm coming into town, I want to take some friends around, can you tell me where all these things are? And we'll drive them around. And I say, no, don't do that. That's not the way to see them. Just go downtown and see how many you stumble upon. But the way it happened, I don't think it could happen today. I'm pretty sure it couldn't. The arts director at that time for the city, Alan Longacre, they got a CETA grant. CETA was something that Ronald Reagan axed the first day he got into office. It was called Comprehensive Education and Training Act. And it was a device to take people and train them to do something. It could be anything. And then when they could fit into the private sector, they'd get off the grant money. A lot of these positions were grabbed onto by arts departments, and it was usually staffing museums and things. But I ended up being what they called an artist in residence for the city of Palo Alto. I called it community artist because it's a little less presumptuous. This project in downtown Palo Alto, I was trying to work on city property, and things were following through for one reason or another. In the meantime, I just came up with this little character that I wanted to put on a building somewhere. And I went out to see where I might do that, and actually got permission in the form of, it's a little slip of paper like you give your kid to go on a field trip. And it said that the owner of the building at such and such address gives the city of Palo Alto permission to use the northwest corner as a mural site, period. I basically went out and I talked these people into letting me paint on their walls, and I just said, it'll be fun. The first one that I created, immediately a city councilman was frightened by it. And he went to buy a newspaper and turned around and saw this strange-looking character ogling him. And rather than being delighted that something had tricked him, he went to a city council meeting and said, it was that very same night, he said, if this is public art, we don't want it, it's awful, get rid of it. So I really quickly went out and did another one. I created the second one that I thought was a crowd pleaser that couldn't scare anybody. This whole thing wasn't really meant to be a series of figures. It was just this one guy I was placing somewhere. But then I did a third one and a fourth one, and all of a sudden it became kind of a community rush. Everybody was coming out to see who was doing these bizarre things. And it turned into a really fun, positive experience. That's how the actual project kind of came into being. I said, sometimes we just have to say goodbye to things, because I really thought these paintings would last 2 or 3 years and they'd just disappear in the beginning. But a bunch of people jumped up and said, no, no, we don't want them to go. And I mean, it did my heart good to hear that. You know, it's nice to know that they've become a treasured part of Palo Alto, but it still bothered me that people were having the squeeze put on them. There have been a couple of murals that have been moved and updated. I mean, for instance, the roof hoppers, or otherwise known as the burglars, that was myself and my wife. on the side of Wiedemann's, what is now Restoration Hardware. And it's two people in jumpsuits and masks, you know, coming down a line. They look like burglars. And I redid those on a building right near City Hall, the big bank building. I think it's a Great Western Bank now. And I created the same figures, basically, doing different things, but this time it's my son and my daughter instead of myself and my wife. So, I mean, that was fun. I went out and looked at this post office as a site because it was just so odd to me. There was this one window on the side, and the post office is a beautiful building, but it looked like there was something missing. It looked like there was a window missing. So I actually painted a duplicate of that window. And then the whole building looked complete to me. But people would say, "Where are you working now?" And I'd tell them, and they'd walk around it 3 times. They come back and say, "I didn't see anything," because they just thought it was a window. So I came back 3 weeks later and added the little kid with the fishing line to that one, just so someone would know it was a painting. Well, they repainted the building. The building was this color, and they repainted it this color. So this is designed so that anybody can come and paint around it. It's all a straight, hard edge. But nobody wants to trust themselves or their workers. So I said I would come out and do that while I repaired this bit of stuff here. And there's a couple of other little dings that I'm going to work on. When I was originally doing these things, there would be like 30 people out here. It was kind of fun. We'd have community sings, you know. Unfortunately, I enjoy people. I know other people that if they were doing this, they'd not like that, but I enjoy talking to people. And his neck expands 20 feet and it's full of ties. So there was a cat in there originally, and somebody just kicked the hell out of the cat. It was all marred up. And I came out to repaint it, and Deanne, who's the owner, said, "Would you paint a Tyconian in there instead?" So I did a little baby Tyconian.
Yeah. I bet people know that.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
You do now.
Yeah. Stay away.
Hey, if you get it on the figure, I can get it off real quick. She's got flair.